Things that people probably didn't expect this season. West Ham to thrive under David Moyes and be genuine disruptors in the race for the top four, let alone European places. And that Jesse Lingard would find himself to be in imperious form under David Moyes with a goal contribution every 78 minutes after 8 appearances in the Premier League. Hey, I'm Adrian and welcome to Rabona TV, where today we'll look at the circumstances that have allowed Moyes and Lingard to thrive, perhaps unexpectedly, and perhaps unexpectedly have sent West Ham toward the top of the Premier League as opposed to toward the bottom. And if you want to follow Lingard very closely, or West Ham in the Premier League, or even football at large, then be sure to do so using the best app in the game, OneFootball. OneFootball allows you to customize your newsfeed within their app by following the teams, players, and competitions that mean the most to you. Whether it's West Ham, Real Madrid, or River Plate, you can follow your favorite teams, get custom tailored updates, follow along their matches with their live match tracker, watch highlights, monitor their transfers, and so much more. Use the link in the description to get a free download on iOS or Android, and a big thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. To give some context as to how well this West Ham side is doing and why it came as somewhat of a surprise as to how well they're doing, it's important to look back on how they've done over the past couple of decades or so. Hammers supporters have seen their side suffer through some Premier League seasons, even getting relegated in 2011 following their 20th place finish during the 2010-11 season under Avram Grant. There's a name you won't have heard in a while, I'm sure. Upon their return, Sam Allardyce saw West Ham through to 3 seasons of mid-table comfort in the Premier League before he was replaced by Slaven Bilic, and things really got rolling for West Ham. In their final season at Upton Park, boasting the likes of Dimitri Payet and Andy Carroll, West Ham had one of their best seasons in recent memory, beating the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal in their first 10 matches. After 2 solid seasons, Slaven Bilic had seemingly lost the magic by the time the 2017-18 season had come around, and by November, he was sacked for who else but David Moyes to save the day. Moyes inherited a West Ham side that was struggling in 17th place, ultimately guiding them to safety in 13th, before making way for Manuel Pellegrini, someone who the board thought they could trust to take that next step with West Ham. But the pattern continued at the club. A season or 2 of mid-table comfort, just 1 in Pellegrini's case, before the manager was sacked, and Moyes was the man to save the day once again taking over the team in 17th and scraping to safety by just 5 points. There was plenty of speculation that said that once again, Moyes wouldn't be staying on, much of it coming from the dynamic, behind the scenes at West Ham, thanks to the 2 Davids, Gold and Sullivan. But what about the other David? David Moyes seemed like an uninspired choice to keep around at West Ham at the time. His 2 rescue missions at the club drawing a perhaps unexpected or unwanted parallel between himself and the former West Ham boss Sam Allardyce, with Moyes looking more like a manager who was moving towards becoming one that relegation-threatened clubs look to as a bailout option, not a long-term project manager. Although Sunderland, even Moyes couldn't save him. But David Moyes, much like West Ham in general, is exceeding expectations this season. However, he's a great example of how short our memories can be as football fans as well. David Moyes has had his reputation damaged over and over again since making moves that, with the benefit of hindsight of course, he probably shouldn't have made. The move to Manchester United did him no favors as he inherited a squad that was aging and thin, with no signings beyond a deadline day Marwan Fellaini helping to bolster it thanks to Ed Woodward learning on the job, so to speak, as the chief executive of Manchester United. Moyes was a man given the unenviable task of trying to ensure their successful reign would continue in the post-Sir Alex Ferguson era. Moyes was given little time to turn things around at Manchester United following some poor results, and Moyes was sacked before his first season was up. The managers that have followed, bar an FA Cup victory from Louis van Gaal and a double from Mourinho, have also found success hard to come by at United. Moyes then followed that move up with an ambitious jump into Spanish football by way of Real Sociedad. His record there was a bleak one, a 28% win percentage, the highlight of his time likely being a 1-0 win over Barcelona, but he was ultimately sacked 364 days after his signing. Another likely bruise to Moyes' ego, and no doubt to his reputation, was his attempt at saving the sinking ship that was Sunderland. But before the United, Sociedad, and Sunderland jobs that hurt his reputation, Moyes was of course a well-respected manager for what he had accomplished at Everton. This is something that we seem to forget. His time at Everton was proof that he had managerial ability. 11 years with one club doesn't come about by being terrible at your job. Again, we tend to forget just how well he had done with the limited resources he had at Everton in comparison to other clubs. The 4th place finish in 2004-2005 season remains their highest finish to date since the great Everton sides of the 80s, and he brought some much needed consistency to Everton. Prior to his arrival in 2002, they were finishing in the teens of the table, but under Moyes, they finished outside of the top 8 once. The state of Everton before and after the Moyes era is quite telling. So far at West Ham, he has resembled that Moyes of old, the manager who was regularly getting great results over top opposition in the league and competing for the top 6 positions. The manager who demanded so much from his teams. The manager who was famously said to have had an office chart that was color-coded madness to try and understand. And a manager that was capable of taking a group and making them greater than the sum of their parts. That's what West Ham is right now, and that's what I personally love to see from a manager. For me, that's the mark of a true manager, taking what they have and getting the most out of it, taking stock of the pieces they have at their disposal and utilizing a system that plays to their strengths instead of moaning about the pieces that they don't have, as some managers do far too frequently now. Doing all of that while getting the best of players on an individual level has been one of Moyes' crowning achievements thus far. Perhaps the player that is becoming the representation of that being Jesse Lingard. Similarly to his manager at West Ham now, Jesse Lingard had gone through the grinder with the Manchester United supporters. Once a solid squad player that would provide moments of magic now and then with his knack for scoring a screamer, driving into space with the ball at his feet, or linking up with his teammates. With the confidence he was boasting at Manchester United, namely under Mourinho, Lingard had excelled to the point of being a starter in 5 of England's 7 matches of the World Cup 2018 tournament. But due to the issues off of the pitch surrounding his mother and the transition between Mourinho and Solskjaer at United, Lingard looked like he'd lost himself a little bit. He went on an incredible goalless run in the Premier League, and his minutes dwindled thanks in no small part to the arrival of Bruno Fernandes. The lack of playing time compounded with his off-pitch issues translated to a poor run of form, a lack of opportunities for United, and not even a look into the English national side for quite some time. And of course, the memes rolled in. In fact, in the 2020-21 season, Lingard made just 3 appearances for Solskjaer's side, all cup appearances. Not a single appearance was made by Lingard in the Premier League from September 19th of 2020 all the way to February 3rd of 2021. But 137 days and a change of teams later via a loan to Moyes West Ham, and Lingard finally got a start. And a goal. 2 goals, in fact. Inserted into the starting 11 immediately thanks to West Ham's needs for attacking reinforcements, Lingard scored a brace in a 3-1 away victory over Aston Villa, becoming the first West Ham player to score a brace on their debut since 1998. 2 matches later, Lingard scored again, this time against Spurs. He then set up West Ham's only goal in a 2-1 loss to Manchester City, before scoring against Leeds and Arsenal. An unexpected return to form led to an unexpected, though well-deserved return to the English national team. His instant success at West Ham has become a great reminder of how the correct circumstances and improved morale or confidence can completely change a player. From just 8 Premier League appearances, Lingard has been involved in 9 West Ham goals, already tied for 3rd place as far as goal contributions are concerned. He's that missing link that West Ham have been dying for in the attack, in order to give the often injured Mikel Antonio the support he needs, while lessening the goal reliance upon Souček, all the same. And the same sort of notions could be said of David Moyes as well when it comes to confidence and circumstance. After spending 5 years floating from United to Spain and back to England via West Ham, Sunderland, and West Ham once again, he has finally tapped into the same sort of success that he was finding at Everton. Of course, nothing is guaranteed in football, and the wheels can come off at any moment. And I mean, looking at how West Ham have followed up seasons of success, it makes it all the more worrying, of course. But the similarities in how he has been able to get, incredible performances out of players like Souček, signing of the season candidate Soufal, and now the much memed Jesse Lingard, have made the redemption arcs of the aforementioned attacker and his fellow former United associate Moyes one of the feel-good stories of the season, and a good reminder of how we're too quick to write some individuals off just because they tried and failed at another club, just because some circumstances weren't working for them at a certain time. Everybody doubted them, myself included, but West Ham could be en route to equaling or perhaps even besting their best ever finish in the Premier League era, perhaps causing fans to dare to dream about finally making it to the group stage of a European competition, something West Ham is yet to do in their history. All the while doing it with David Moyes at the helm and Jesse Lingard driving the attack, at least in the latter half of the season. The redemption of Moyes and Lingard has been West Ham's redemption. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then be sure to subscribe so you can find your way back to us much more easily in the future. Other than that, do drop a like to help appease the algorithm, or a dislike if you didn't enjoy this at all. My name is Adrian, I appreciate you watching this video, and we hope to see you in the next one. Ciao!